No, we just went live.
Oh.
You're peeking again.
Sorry.
Don't worry, I just turned you down. I myself down too. We're finally back after technical issue and converting the show from a pre-recorded podcast into a live stream that you guys can of course follow here at Twitch, or if you're watching our archive after, we'll have the link to Twitch in there, but of course still give us a follow if you're liking the content. I mean, we have people that keep coming back, so you might as well keep watching us. But this week we're looking back at our games down at Las Vegas. When we went down to LVO, of course it was hosted by FLG. There was a lot that went on down there. We got to go through, and we had a blast. There was a ton of stuff that went down. We're actually just putting up some footage of that here. We caught a ton of footage while we were down there, which is fantastic.
Yeah, I spent pretty much almost all 3 days walking through the event. Massive event. Took me just this footage that I took for this was probably a good hour of walking around.
Now, before we get further, we might as well introduce ourselves. Of course, I'm your host, Isaiah, and that is Dragon Master Jacob. I'm pointing to my right, but of course he is on my left. But that's just because of camera placement. So, LVO. Let's get into this, because LVO was a blast back in January. It was so much fun.
Oh yeah, I mean, it was a massive event that FLG did. The Warhammer community was massive. They had all different games from Warhammer. They had Legion, Armada, X-Wing Assault. They even had games that I've never seen.
And of course, they were showing off their own game, which we will get to later. So kind of a breakdown of, okay, so we're going to respond to chat real quick. Take a couple minutes for that. We're actually Armada players. We went down there to play Star Wars. I went down to play Star Wars Armada. It was the world's qualifier. So the Warhammer stuff, we got the footage of. It looks amazing. I could never get into it. I like my wallet.
Yeah, me too.
And I will not go into debt to serve the Imperium of Man. But regardless, the Warhammer community had 500 tables in the main room, which is insane. Like, this is by far the largest gaming event that I've been to. And so seeing everything that was down there, also just walking through, seeing the different models that they had. I'm actually going to pull back the footage a little bit, because you had one where the displays that they did are just fantastic.
Oh yeah, they have some amazing displays that these people build themselves, and it is phenomenal work. I'm still trying to learn painting. Isaiah knows more about it than I do, but I'm not really a painter. But the models look amazing.
Now, moving a little bit from just the general event, so they had 3 rooms break, which was they had the Warhammer room, which had the main Warhammer stuff. They had a secondary room, which kind of had the Star Wars stuff, the Armada stuff, and, well, the Armada is in with the Star Wars stuff, mostly Legion, Armada, and then a few other different games, mostly small, like played on a 3x3 table, which was weird. Yeah. And then, of course, they had like 2 other halls with, like, Age of Sigmar and all these events going on at once, which was amazing. Not to mention, they were super great when we went down, letting us get footage while we're in there. So, of course, we got to thank FLG for that.
FLG, they put on an amazing...
Now, going into this, we're just covering the Warhammer stuff just briefly before we get into the true Armada stuff, because we want to understand kind of where we're... Before going into this event, apparently the Warhammer community had a little bit of an upset with a Necron.
Like, a lot of people got mad about it. And
as we were signing up for registration, we were talking with some Warhammer guys down there. I don't think I ever got their name or anything like that. We're just in line with them. They let us know that there was a Necron's nerf, and that people were returning their tickets and removing themselves from the event. Now, I'm just bringing this up because I like the irony of the fact that list still won the event.
Oh yeah.
So the irony of that whole thing is just not lost on me. It's fantastic, and I laughed through the entire thing. Moving on a little bit to the Star Wars stuff. In fact, let's clear this off. We're still new to this whole thing, so I'm just getting the other overlay up. The tables for Legion were also great.
Oh yeah, I loved the setup with the Legion tables because they had different planet settings, not just different maps, but they had completely different settings. So like they had Tatooine,
Kashyyyk, the Kashyyyk one.
They even had stuff from the Ahsoka.
Like, there was so much going on and so many different tables that they built that it was fantastic. I kind of fell off from Legion, which is why we didn't participate in the Legion event, because it was too, like, we're too far behind. There's so much that went on with it. We kind of just got left out for new releases. Jake was never heavily into it.
I struggled because, like I said, I'm not very good at and
I wouldn't even blame the fact that you can't paint on it, because I painted a lot of your stuff. I blame the fact that you can't roll a die to save your life.
Hey, that's why I 3D printed a dice tower.
No. Like, when we're talking about his unluckiness, Jake over here can roll 5 dice that all have a 7 and 8 chance of succeeding and blank. A lot. And we're like, that shouldn't be possible. Also, these ATSTs, man. If you're just listening to the audio show, which will be going up after this, there's a little bit of video going with it. We're showing some background to the stuff, different paint jobs, things like that. Getting into
those ATSTs were all done by the same person.
I know, it's fantastic.
He does an amazing job. I didn't really get to talk to him. He was in the middle of playing a game, but it was phenomenal to see the work that because he had them for different. I want to say he did it for the different maps that were at the event.
Mm-hmm. So as far as the events went, though, they were fantastic. I had a blast down there. It was on another level. I went down, like I said, to play Armada, which is very much what we're going to be kind of covering here today, because the Armada event was so different, and there were some things that went into it. We have some interviews with people who attended the event. We have one from Jacob Thompson, who, of course, if you're in the Armada community within Utah, he runs our tournament stuff. I think he's also the host of the Armada Discord. He is our TO, and a fantastic guy. We also managed to get an interview with the actual tournament organizer that came out from Texas for FLG. So we definitely have some stuff going on for that. Sorry, I'm just turning a monitor so Jacob can actually see some of the footage. I just realized I didn't do that earlier, and we should have. Man, trouble's when you're going live, right? But back to just kind of the Armada event. We had everything get shown. So when I say everything getting shown down there, almost every ship was represented, which is fantastic and definitely speaks to the not lack of a meta, but the balancing of the meta, that anybody could really bring anything.
Yeah, I mean, what was even better is, I mean, I don't play Armada very much. I'm still trying to get into it. But the TO that was there, his favorite ship is the SSD, and I loved some of the designs that they did for the SSD. One guy, I wish we would have gotten a picture of it. He put LEDs into his ship, which was phenomenal, and it was even better that the SSD won.
So I've actually got pictures of it. Not to show, unfortunately. You can see here we've got some of the Armada stuff going on. First of all, the casual event was fantastic. I will agree with you. The Separatists are the best faction. I actually moved to be playing the Separatists. In this event, I was playing the Rebels. I didn't pick up Separatists until after, and that's because when I was going into this event, I was playing the Rebels. My favorite ship with the Rebels was the Providence. I played the Providence at a previous event after running a home one Moncaron list, and then afterwards bringing in a this time bringing a Moncaron and a Providence for the Rebels. I was really disappointed with the Separatists, and we're going to cover some stats real quick that went to this and why I'm disappointed in them. So I've got the stats here for they are fantastic. So I got the stats here on my phone. Oh, sorry, I don't have them just to post up. I put them in the Armada Discord for just the general ships that we're seeing and how many we saw. So my disappointment comes in the Empire first. The most seen ship was the Gazanti. that I'm like, your flotilla was the most seen ship. They had 9 ISDs. 10 ISDs. 2 ISD-1s, 7 ISD-2s, and a Kuat. We had 2 SSDs, which is great to see. I love seeing SSDs. They had a good slew of... They were pretty versatile. Like we said, we saw every single ship, except for, I think, a hard sell. In the Rebels... in the Republic, sorry, that's the next one that I have here. They had 9 Venators, sorry. My thing is out of whack. They had 9 Venators. 9 Venators and 4 Victory. 4 Victory Star Destroyers. Which means I'm wondering if we're going to see a shift where people are just getting used to the new meta of these. The Victory in the Republic is definitely a different beast altogether. And in the Separatists, and this is why I was disappointed in the Separatists, okay? So the Separatists brought 3 Recusants, 3 Munificents, 4 hard cells, and 2 Gazantis.
No Providence.
The Rebels brought more Providences than you guys. I'm going to let that sink in. The Rebels brought more Providences than the Separatists.
Which, I mean, then again, your list was legitimately called... They decided to name it, I'd like to speak...
Okay, yeah. As soon as we're done with the stats, we're going to be going into how my games went and really, like, how the tournament went, because playing those lists was fantastic and hilarious. My first game... not first game, sorry. Back to the stats. We had 12 GR75s in the Rebellion. 1 Hammerhead, 1 Starhawk, 3 Providences, 2 MC80s, the Liberty class MC80s specifically, 1 MC80 Command, a bunch of MC75 cruisers. We had torpedo cruisers. We had some torpedo cruisers, but mostly of the MC75s, they were ordnance MC75s. So the ordnance carriers came to play. And in fact, I played against one of them. I played against a Profundity in my first match. As far as aces, everyone really brought a diverse group of aces in their fighters, except for the Separatists and the Republic. The Republic brought some aces. They brought Kit Fisto and that... No, was it Kit Fisto? Let me check in. Yeah, it was Kit Fisto and Anakin and 1 axe. They had 3 people who ran aces. 1 of each. 1 of each between the 3. The Separatists, I'm also disappointed, did not bring any aces. And Separatists have some of the best aces. Come on, guys. Wat Tambor is on another level.
Well, it didn't seem like this... They didn't really focus on fighters as much.
Yeah, but Separatists have great fighters. Their fighter balls are amazing.
Yeah, but every time I would go, because I walked through and I'd stop by and see how things are going, because I was trying to walk through the whole event, but I never saw a lot of fighters on the tables. There was a couple of matches that there's some people that ran a lot of fighters, but I did not see a lot of fighters on the table when you were playing. I don't think you played against a ton of fighter squadrons.
One of my tables was a fighter ball. I think I lost that one 8th. Yeah, I lost to an Imperial fighter ball, and then I stomped an. Okay, so what I was running is I was running MC80 Moncaron Liberty class with LTTs, XI7s, SW5s, and gunnery teams. And then a fully kitted Providence. We're talking flight controllers. We're talking... I used every upgrade that I could get on that thing and then stuck Kirsta on it just to make it harder to kill. And it served me well. My fleet served me well. They had, in the first one, the first round, man.
Oh, that one was...
The first round was a lot of mismatches. We had like 8 people get
10-1.
10-1. Like, so many people just got stomped. And I can't even be mad. I was like people got 10-1. Like, half of the people there. And we were a 32-man tournament. Like, half of the games ended in somebody getting murdered.
And that was just the first round. Good news is it got better after that.
Yes. So I'm actually pulling that up right now. Let me see. I'm going to add something just here real quick. So you guys, we're doing this completely impromptu. I'm just going to display the, grab a quick window capture of this. Sorry, we're doing this on the fly. I didn't actually mean to pull this up, but that was the placements for the first round. Was that first round? No, that was fourth round. Sorry. This was the first round. People got destroyed in this first round. Like, everyone. Fighting to a 5-6 for me was impressive. The fleet point total at the event was standard fleet totals. Wow, sorry. I gotta keep that up. I'm gonna have to move that to another screen. I'm forgetting I'm doing a full window.
You've got 3 screens.
It was standard tournament, so it was 400 fleet points. Yeah, standard for any tournament is 400, with 132 fighters. Because this was a qualifier for the Worlds, it had to go based on standard tournament stuff. Yeah, people got stomped. The SSD stomped people.
Yeah.
We stomped people. I fought to a 5-6. I fought to a standstill the first round in a 5-6. The first round had I was up against a Profundity with a hammerhead in it, and he had a CR90B and a CR90B and a flotilla. And my fighters just kind of held up his fighters. I ran over the CR90 with my Providence.
How else do you play Armada except for as a battering ram?
Exactly. I shot it. I shot it with the Providence out the front, and then shot the MC75 out the side, and then it was at 1 life, and I'm like, I kind of want to kill it.
I have the movement. Why not?
I have the movement. Getting stuck at speed 1 doesn't put me in danger. Run it over. And so I ran it over. I left my Moncaron to die, which is why I only went 5. Why I lost it is because I left my Moncaron to die and couldn't take out the Providence. I mean, not the Providence, the it was just a great game, round 1 for me. But afterwards, I found out about the people getting 9-2'd, the people getting 5-6. I mean, the people getting 8-3, the people getting 10-1. This was a bloodbath in the first game. Now, round 2, it settled. This is the one where I went up against an Imperial fighter list, like a proper Imperial fighter list, and barely scraped out alive. Like, I lost all my fighters. I think my Providence got away. I think I only lost the Providence once this entire tournament. I lost the MC aid. I lost the Mon Karen almost every time. Like, she's talked to the manager and then screamed off. But this was another one where I'm like, dang, this is having a huge sway. These games are not. We had more 5-1s on this one, and we had more 4-7s, but both games so far were just ruthless. And so it's like, yeah, no. Going into the third one, we split for lunch after that. Third one is when we came in. I was up against a Starhawk Providence. Rebel Providence. Difference is I went with Karen, he went with the Hawk, and I asked to speak to his manager. And I essentially parked that MC-80 right in front of the Hawk. Having 6 defense tokens doesn't save you when you've got a Karen bearing down on you, because you only get to spend 1.
Hence the reason why they said his fleet is called I'd like to speak to your manager.
Because what I would do is I would park my MC.
That poor employee.
Yeah, I parked my every game. I parked my Mon Karen in front of their largest ship and held it there, gunning it down. I'd like to speak to the manager. Fourth round on day 1. This was the bloodbath that I caused. I went up against an Imperialist, and he got away with only a Gazantes. I burned down an ISD, I burned down a Quasar, and I burned down an Arquinton. I one-shot the Arquinton. The Mon Karen one-shot an Arquinton.
It went, I'd like to speak to your manager. When the manager showed up, he responded with, I'd like to speak with your manager.
We're going to throw this off a little bit because I'm just going to get this set up because to look at some of the lists. So the top 8 was interesting. So like we said, an SSD won this. It was an SSD Piet. I've actually got the list here. I just pulled it off so that we could take a look at it. All lists are public on T4, like always. Dude just ran this tournament.
Oh, yeah.
Like, okay, I can't say he ran this tournament. I'd be lying if I said this SSD ran the tournament. Because what happened with this SSD is he took 8th place.
And this was, he ended up winning the overall, what is it called?
The super invite. So how this was structured is day 1 was a casual event. Day 2 was the start of the event. It's where we all played the major games. And then day 3 was 2 pods of 8. Top 8, and then the next 8. Top 8 fighting for a super invite, which would cover all fences to worlds. He scraped in there in 8th place, and then won the entire event on tournament points. He lost a game in Dayton. But he still won over somebody who went 3-0, which is fantastic, which is interesting. I love to see that happen. Low scoring games, man. That's why I play the way that I am, way I do. I will either win big or I will lose big, but somebody is winning big. Like, I learned that pretty early on with Armada tournaments and how they're structured. Because of the tournament point structure, you want as much destruction as you can. A 0-0 or a 5-6 will not serve you as well as a 10-1. A 10-1 serves you really well, but if you lose, you're getting the 1. The 5-6 actually is a really good fight. Sorry, I misspoke there. Getting the 5-6 matters a whole lot because those tournament points determine your placement. So even if you fight to a 5-6, you still get 5 points to your opponent. So you'll be put ahead of anybody who went 3, or you've got more points than somebody else come the end. So if you fight to a 5-6 and people are getting 10-1, they're at it, or 8-3'd, and most people are getting 8-3'd or 7-4'd, and then you just slam into somebody and 10-1 them at some point, you're gonna place pretty high in the event. Some of the other lists, Bail Organa got some love with Venator. There was a ton of them, and it was fantastic. Now, the event itself was a blast. And like I said, we got some interviews from some people from the event. Jacob Thompson being our TO. We got his permission to interview for this. Got it right here.
Okay, so what do you want to ask me?
So, you're coming down from Utah?
Gotta make sure the audio.
It is working. It's just not monitoring for us. Yeah.
Okay, so what do you want to ask me?
So, you're coming down from Utah?
Yes.
What kind of, what kind of difference have you seen in the player base and everything coming down to Vegas?
Okay,
Jake's
so
helping me with some
I've been coming
stuff.
here
I'm
for
just
4
getting
or 5
our
years.
stuff situated.
The
so
first
that we
time I
can-
came here, there were 80
This is
players.
coming out of the gaming headset. Let's
Second time, there were 40.
it for us.
30-something.
some
Last year,
speakers.
there's 20-something. So we were afraid that it wasn't going to
Make sure
happen.
that it's playing for you guys.
Okay, so what do you want to ask
It is.
me?
I can see it. So you're coming down from Utah.
Yes.
What kind of, what kind of difference have you seen in the
We
player
didn't
base and
notice it
everything coming
last
down to Vegas?
Okay, so I've been coming here for 4 or 5 years. The first time I came here, there were 80 players.
Oh,
Second time, there were 40 or 30-something. Last year, there's 20-something. So we were afraid that it wasn't going to happen this year.
yeah.
And I was afraid because the LVO Armada ticket wasn't on LVO's website to start
no.
this summer. So we were emailing people, is it going to happen?
Yeah.
Somehow they decided to make it happen. And so on their part, I don't think it was the best thing to not advertise right on the day because usually people are waiting for it.
Yeah.
So I got my ticket late when I found out they were doing it. And thankfully, there's 32 people here, which is more than last year. So that should tell them it's a strong community that wants to support it, and there's a lot of really good players here.
Yeah. I mean, coming back. Yeah, I'm gonna pause the interview there. There's a reason for that. So, what who was talking about? FLG had a huge problem with the Armada tournament. Coming into this, so tickets for all the other events went live in summer. I think like June or July.
I think that's what he said is that
Yeah.
they were.
Most tickets for LVO went live in June or July. This was a big event that was planned forever. Tickets did not go live with every other ticket.
Not for Armada. It was Armada didn't go live until December.
November or December. I can't remember which. It was either late November or December. And when that happened is when people were finally getting it. I think it was because it had been shrinking. You know, he mentioned it. It was 80 people before, then it was 40, then it was 20, and now we're back to 32. But of course, it was essentially 80 people. COVID hit. Nobody showed up to these tournaments, and so they're worried nobody would. And then this event sold out. We had 2 people on the wait list, and we didn't have tickets live nearly as long as anybody else.
Yeah, and so we're hoping that next year that they'll be able to increase the amount of tables for Armada. It is growing back again, and that especially now that they're starting to do more events and people are starting to come back after COVID. This event should be able to start becoming a lot larger, and they should be able to get back up to close to 80.
40, 80. Like I said, this was a big event, and I think the biggest issue is people did not have time to plan it.
I mean, we were fortunate because most of the people that were there were from Utah. We're right next to Nevada. We can just drive right over.
Yeah, we drove like 6 hours, 8 hours.
It was 6 hours.
Yeah, it took 6 hours.
Which
Ran
is a
from
lot
Salt Lake
better.
down to Vegas.
Because there's some people that if they had to come from Texas or from, I think there was somebody from Colorado, right?
Yeah, we had Colorado people. We had Texas.
And
I think the guy from Kentucky showed up.
yeah, and to plan it was, for them to plan it on such short notice is really impressive. Because, I mean, they probably got their tickets sometime in late November, December. They had a month to plan it with the holiday to show up in January.
here. When we came in, there were people that couldn't get a ticket.
Yeah, there's
So-
a wait list because
Yeah.
they cut it off in December. They cut off the sales to make space for other games if they were selling more.
Yeah.
And there's a bigger wait list for others. So there's a cutoff, and so 32 players, and then people showed up and they were on a wait list, which was good because someone didn't show up. It's good to plug someone in so there were
Yeah.
no buys. Yeah, because a buy, you sit around for 2 hours doing nothing. You get 8-3, but you don't get to play.
Yeah.
Sit around and go get lunch.
What about the guys coming down from Utah? Everybody coming down from Utah, seeing everybody here must be great.
It was good. There's 7 people from Utah, which I was excited to see. I thought there might be one more, but I didn't figure on this guy named Isaiah. He surprised me by showing up. I looked at the T4 and saw Isaiah's name. Is it Art Isaiah? Yes. So it was exciting to see the Armada crew out, the Utah Armada crew out, and we've done really well. Michael Dunn from Utah, who's also Indiana, but we adopted him anyway. He's in the top cut of 8. He already has an invite, but the super invite's on the line, so he's playing for that, which is travel and accommodations.
Yep.
And then the second tier, there were enough people in the top tier tournament that already had invites, that of the 4 invites, the super invite and 3 basic invites, there are enough people who already have invites that one invite passed down and they started a second tier tournament, and that's what I'm fighting for.
That's good.
This isn't Utah, but yeah.
And how have your games been going?
Yesterday they went great. I had a really great game against Jackson from Sacramento, and that was a loss, 8-3 loss in my last round. So that was a tight nail biter, and it goes over in my mind at night. It haunts my dreams. And the other 3 games, I lost one that was 7-4. It was another solid game against Luke, and then I had 1-8-3, 1-9-2. And they were great. And today I have a 7-4 win. So
Yeah, I've seen a great variety of ships, which is amazing to see here.
yeah, to see an SSD on the table.
2.
There were Rebel Providences yesterday. There were, I think everything was represented. I don't know about hammerheads.
I saw a hammerhead.
Did you? Good.
My first round, I went up against a hammerhead and a profundity.
Excellent. Excellent. Yeah.
So we've seen just about anything. The only thing I haven't seen are potatoes.
Okay, I knew that my friend Nick had a guppy.
Oh, he had a guppy?
And Salt Frigate Gallant Haven with a big spawn.
Okay.
And it was solid. He did well.
We're seeing just everything down here, which is great.
Yeah. Yeah, it's super fun to see so many diverse lists on the table and good players knowing how to run them. It's very exciting.
Yeah.
Top tier competition and creative lists. And I have to take out my phone and say, can I take a picture of your list? That's great. Or that's oddball. Let me get that, because that's inspiring. So, yeah, it's good.
Oh, thank you for your time.
You bet. You bet.
So, Jacob does some great work with the Armada community, especially with us. He's just a great guy. Works so well with the Utah Armada group. He's very knowledgeable about the game. Has a lot of fun. He's preparing. He's going to be competing in the Last Chance qualifier for the Worlds. But there is. He talked about it. The not versatility. The variety of lists that we saw.
Yeah, I mean, so many lists. A lot of people, and the best part is the fact that some of these lists, they could be seen in Worlds and played before in Worlds, but everybody plays their lists differently. They use the same ships, the same add-ons, but they play them different, which is one of the best parts about Armada, is the fact that it can change. I mean, you could have 2 lists that are completely identical and play completely.
Just because of your upgrades. So you could be like, we're both playing ISDs. Well, mine's a carrier, mine's a gunship.
Well, even if they had the same upgrades, the players think differently.
The aggressiveness.
Their strategies are complete.
Yeah. And that's the thing. The game relies so heavily on strategy, which is very nice, and I love Armada for that. We've got one more interview. That was with Ellison. He was the tournament organizer. He put this whole thing together for us. He ran the events, and did a lot of work this weekend.
He was the TO that was over the Armada event. There we go.
All right, so we're just wrapping up the last night of the Armada LVO.
Yep.
Looks like there was a good showing. Everybody showed up. Well, we had a bunch of people show up, and it was the event sold out, which was surprising.
That was fantastic. Especially, it didn't look like it was going to sell out right when they started posting it. It seemed like most of the community was like, "I can't travel around January. That's too hard." And then I pinged the event organizer one day. I'm like, "So how are ticket sales going?" He's like, "You're sold out." And I was like, "Well, fantastic." So yeah, we hit our player cap of 32. Then we had 2 people that walked on and said, "Hey, if you got an open spot, let me know." And we had 1 no-show, which is about average for a tournament this size. And we were able to get the walk-on in the other guy's place. So yeah, we full 32.
Which is great for this kind of event, especially because, next year they might be able to expand it.
I'm hoping that next year we can go up to about 48 in Armada. I see that the tournament community's there. We had 45 in Texas. There were 45 in Germany. There were technically 46, and the one in Texas was run by FLG, the same company. Mm-hmm. And they closed ticket sales early because they literally ran out of space.
Oh, wow.
There's more than enough space here. There were a couple of Legion tables that saw no action. And then there was room behind us for another 3 sets of tables of 4. So that's 12 plus we can get to 48.
That's always good for organizing future events as well. So.
Yeah.
Before we go on, and he talked about this, there were empty tables.
I mean, they could have expanded it, and
they didn't.
And I think they did that because they didn't release the tickets till so late.
Yeah. So honestly, as much as I love FLG for putting this on, I do have to call them out for the fact that they really did not give Armada the shape it should have had.
Hoping that next year.
Release the tickets on time. Make sure the TOs caught up way ahead of time, and give us the table space. I think it was. I think the tables behind us were supposed to be X-wing.
No, X-wing assault was in front of you.
No, not X-wing assault, Jake. Oh. It's just X-wing. You're thinking of Imperial assault.
Probably.
And it might have been Imperial assault that was supposed to be one. One of them was supposed to be behind us. And those tables were empty, which means they didn't get the player counts that they needed. And you had an event that sold out and was late.
I mean, the Legion event, there was a lot of tables for Legion, but they did not use all of the tables. There was several that, never saw play. Mm-hmm. They had the whole thing set up and everything. And people maybe use them for practice matches, for fun skirmish games, but
it was kind of disappointing. Easy question. How long have you been hosting the LVO for us?
Oh, I haven't. I think this FLG has been doing LVO for 5 years now.
Yeah.
Google that one.
I did look that one up. They have been doing LVO for Armada since 2018. So it's been around for a bit. Like you said, it's his first year hosting. Essentially, they called him up and said, "Hey, you want to do this?"
Well, this is his first year hosting in Vegas. He usually hosts in Texas.
Yeah, he runs the large events down for the Lone Star Open.
I was pulled in as the judge when as the TO for Armada when the one that was scheduled to here. There were 2 that were going to be here, and both of them had to bow out for different reasons. I've been judging for FLG for 3 years now, and I normally host the Texas one, the LSO, Lone Star Open. So I I got a call just after Thanksgiving, like, hey, can you come judge this? And I was like, yes. I love my community, and that's why I do this.
Yeah. That's great that you were able to come out for that. Any comments about the variety of lists that we saw today, this weekend?
So this weekend, I saw Radis for the first time in a long time in a tournament setting. We saw a Piet SSD. If you check the standings, Piet SSD won.
Oh, wow.
So they won the invite to Worlds with travel and accommodation. That's amazing. So we had every game. We had SSD, we had MSU, we had Sloan 134, we had TF Bot and Separatist. Separatist chronically underrepresented, but we had them all. So there was like 1 or 2 mirror matches, which in 32 players is great, that there was nobody just like hard on hard.
That's really good, that the variety of everything. It's a good showing for.
It was a good showing, and I think that speaks to the meta, not necessarily the meta, the balance inside Armada itself.
Yeah.
Is that there is no have to meta. There are stronger lists for sure, but you can show up with what you want to and still play.
That's great. Yeah, and he talked about this. That is the strength of Armada, is how well balanced this game is. This game is so well balanced. Like, every ship has a place. It depends on your strategy, but I don't think there's any ship that doesn't have a place, except for you, Gladiator. I hate you. I hope to never see you again. Screw off with your 4 black dice.
I like it.
But that's just because I don't like against it. I played against too many demolishers. I played against a cog list and wasn't happy. On a lighter note, what was the strangest ruling you had to make?
Not exactly strangest. Okay. I will say that there was one player early on that when they submitted their list, there were 2 people who submitted a list that weren't legal, and one of them that was submitted that wasn't legal. It's weird to have to rule before the game starts. So to just find a chance to make a judge call before somebody even shows up to a venue, I guess would be the weirdest one that I had to make. Outside of that, actually here at the venue, trying to think of all the things that I was called for. Explaining how ignition tokens move if they're on a rock or something that moves. That one's fun.
That one seems very niche.
It is extremely niche. Ezra Bridger can move a rock that has an ignition token on it outside of the arc of the ship, so it can no longer ignition.
See, that is a weird one. And what he's getting at, somebody must have been running Ezra. Yeah, if you place your ignition token on an obstacle, and Ezra moves that obstacle out of your ignition attack arc, you can no longer use that ignition attack.
Which honestly, I'm kind of laughing that it actually came up in an event.
It is so weird because that means somebody who is running Ezra. Yeah, somebody who is running Ezra had to wind up either against a Sfati on the, I think it's called a Sfati on the Venator, or an Onager.
It's a great use.
And what was the hardest ruling?
The hardest ruling.
Thank God it's not like 80 degrees out here.
I won't call it a hard ruling per se. I always think that the hardest ruling is when I have to come in and make the call whether or not something is in the slimmest of arcs. The details of making sure I don't move something, I don't impart any error to it, those are the hard calls. Other than that, taking a couple of players aside and issuing warnings, those I would consider hard, because at the end of the day, I want everybody to have fun, and I can't imagine you're having fun while the judge is telling you, please stop doing what you're doing.
Yeah, that's always difficult.
Yeah.
A little bit on what he talked about with the slimmest of margins. Yeah, and about moving stuff. These ships are so light on their stands. One guy down there actually gave me some I need to take into account with my ships. Gluing washers on your bases. Like on the big ship bases underneath where they have like a bunch of empty plastic space, take some washers, Gorilla Glue them on or Super Glue them on. And what they do is they add weight to the ships so they're heavier, so they won't get bumped around.
Yeah, that's one thing that, I mean, you're trying to measure and you could accidentally push it further.
Yeah, you could accidentally push it out. Or it could be the slimmest thing. Even if you try to put it back, you're guessing. But
especially because the actual measurement is from cardboard to cardboard, not plastic to plastic.
Exactly. And any Armada player will tell you cardboard to cardboard, which is essentially good general rule. Can your measuring tool fit and sit when you set it down, sit on it? Will it touch both cardboards?
There's some things that it does help. I had mentioned that sometimes it does help to have a line of sight laser, because yes, in this game it doesn't, line of sight doesn't matter, but it can be used to
It tracks your arcs.
to see if you are in arc.
And honestly, I think that's a tool that every Armada player should have, is a laser that's just like, okay, I need to check arc. Cool, we got it.
And last question is just, how did you feel about the outcome?
Ecstatic. As a longtime SSD fan and flyer, the fact that the SSD took first, I'm super happy for. He was a brilliant player, got some really good matches, and he did beautifully. It was great.
I understand. SSDs are really
Everybody,
chips to fly.
yeah, everybody in the top 8, everybody day 2 top 8, flew amazingly well. Obviously, they got into top 8. They were competent enough to get there. So the standings at the end of the day reflected a great game of Armada to watch in every single match.
That's great. I mean, that's all the questions we had. Just a quick thing about your experience with the tournament.
Awesome. Yeah, I loved it. I had a blast, and I didn't play. So.
Yep. Did you have any other comments to make?
I want to thank the community for coming. If we turn back out here, every other table is just littered with trash. Every other table is just a wreck. I had to pick up like 6 water bottles.
Oh, man.
My community takes care of themselves. Everybody volunteered to help me clean up, and I shooed them all away. So, like I said, I love my community, and I'm glad that I'm where I'm at.
Oh, thank you for your time.
Thank you, guys.
There we go.
So, yeah, and he talked about that, the cleanliness of the group. Apparently, yeah, there was a ton of problems at the end of the event. Just tables being not cleaning. At the Armada community. I mean, even we offered to help when we were coming in late after the event had ended, because we supposed to be ending. They ended early, and we were coming in. We got lucky to get the interview, which is nice. When we came in, even we were like, "Do you need any help getting these cleaned up?"
Yeah, I mean, just offering to help is always nice. I mean, it's the same with camping. If you pack it in, pack it out.
That's just the best rule to follow with any tournaments. Pack it in, pack it out.
Doesn't matter if it's water bottles, or even if you get a water bottle there, throw it away. They had garbage cans all over the place.
Yeah, you packed it in. It's your responsibility to clean it up. And that's what was great about the Armada community, is we really just took care of the space. Everybody did such a great job, and I had a blast at this event. LVO was so much fun.
Oh yeah, and I honestly, it'll be even better to go back next year.
I'm gonna make Jake play next year.
Crap, because I'm not very good at rolling dice.
Bring your turbo laser. Jake printed
Right.
off a turbo laser tower.
Which, this tower, I actually got it from one of the guys at the event had it. he designed it, and it was phenomenal.
And Jake printed it off. So
I
it's
haven't painted it yet. Though.
yeah, he's gonna paint it up, and we're gonna bring it. Honestly, Armada events are always a blast. I'm having so much fun. In fact, as we kind of focus in a little bit in 2024 with Armada, as we play it more and get into it and do some ship breakdowns, stay tuned for those. Honestly, I'm loving the game. I've been playing it for years. It's so much fun, but there's so much versatility to ships. So everything's different. Everything's well balanced, except for you, Gladiator. I hate you.
I think it's fun.
You know, screw that. Next time you bring a Gladiator, I'm bringing an MC30. I'm bringing the Rebels version of the Gladiator.
When we played, I did not use that Gladiator as well as I could have. Mainly because I was using it to sweep around the back. But
Jake, next time, I'm bringing an MC30 torpedo frigate. I got red.
I've got black.
And I can't wait. So we all know that Rapid Reinforcements is coming up. Coming up, you're going to be seeing more of us as we're covering more events. Next week is, of course, the Heroscape.
That will be interesting. We remember playing Heroscape as a neighbor, so that's a great part.
Got a nice big collection.
We have history of playing it as a kid, and it's almost nostalgic for.
Yep, and so to finally have it come back and having new stuff for it is going to be fantastic. So keep an eye out for that. We'll be looking over the reveals that they do for it, and of course be looking over the pre-orders, because I think pre-orders are going live on March 1st.
I don't know. I haven't looked it up
yet. It is. I looked it up. They're doing pre-orders as soon as that's done because it's releasing in August. Of course, there's some other events that are going on. You made it this far, guys. If you're listening to the archive, if you're here, of course, share us with your friends. Come on. Honestly, that is the best way to see these things grow and to see us stick around for longer is to share us with your friends. Word of mouth is the best way to spread a small show, or share us online. You can also subscribe on our YouTube and all of that. We have to do the plugs because we have an archive, and I do not want to record a separate section for it. So check us out on YouTube. We also convert this over into an audio show, so you can catch that on Spreaker. Spotify. Why did I say Spreaker's our podcast distribution host? Catch us on Spreaker. That's everything that we got for you. I'm your host, Isaiah.
I'm Jacob.
Dragmaster Jacob. We're logging out.